Every Tuesday, like today's Tuesday, our Eye on Money series looks at financial issues affecting Americans. This morning, we're focusing on the high cost of fertility treatments. About 13 in 100 American couples have trouble getting pregnant. Infertility treatments like IVF cost more than $10,000 a cycle. Freezing your eggs on average is between $30,000 and $40,000. Cheaper options like intra-uterine insemination may cost $300 to $1,000.
A lot of money. Refinery 29 released an anonymous infertility diary chronicling one woman's difficult journey. After an initial consultation nearly 2 years ago, she had 3 rounds of intra-uterine insemination and is in the middle of her first round of IVF. Get this, she has already spent $26,600. Refinery 29 Senior Vice President Julie Alvin is with us. Julie, good morning.
Good morning.
The dollar signs next to these treatments, I mean, just jaw-dropping.
Yes, absolutely.
And on top of those sticker prices, there are even more underneath that. There are hidden costs. What are those?
So there are various consultations. There are medication costs. So a lot of times when you're talking about the cost of a particular procedure, that's not taking into account all of the medications that you have to pay for to prepare yourself for that procedure. If you're doing egg freezing, there's also egg storage, which can cost up to $1,000 a year. There's various consultations. If you have the means to talk to different fertility specialists, those may or may not be covered by your insurance. Only, 60% of people have to pay out of pocket for all of these costs because they have no fertility coverage on their insurance.
It's so interesting to talk about means in this context, because what people have is desire. I mean, to start a family, you'll pay almost anything. You'll find a way. Does insurance cover some of it, all of it?
It depends definitely on the company and on the insurance policy. So like I said, 60% of people have to pay entirely out of pocket for fertility treatments. Some places will cover a little bit. So, you know, they might cover Clomid, which is a shot that helps stimulate ovulation, or they might cover a portion of the medications for egg freezing or IVF. But it's pretty rare that a place will cover all of the treatments. And, you know, most people are stuck trying to foot this bill. And it really is a socioeconomic issue as well, because it's people who are, you know, in positions of privilege who are able to do this, and people who don't have the means.
Is there any way to get financial help other than your insurance for something like this?
So there are certain ways. There are ways to sort of bring down costs in general. So, you know, certainly talk to your insurance and figure out what your different options are. We also would recommend talking to, so we did this big package called Fertility Spectrum on Refinery 29 that's all about kind of educating the different paths towards pregnancy, the different costs, and opening that dialogue. And we partner with an organization called Fertility IQ that is a great resource for all this information on costs, different procedures, doctors. So going there and making sure that, you know, you're aware of the different costs involved. We also worked with a place called Extend Fertility. I personally worked with them, and they offer egg freezing at 40% below the national average.
What is the national average? Do you know?
The national average, I believe, is, and so the number you quoted is probably for several treatments. So 11,000 is the national average for the actual retrieval procedure, but then there's also around, if you don't have any insurance coverage, around $5,000 in medication costs in addition to $1,000 a year. So I would recommend going to clinics like that, who, you know, we had an excellent experience with them, do it for less. And there are also grants and scholarships, actually, for fertility.
When do you know, Julie, that you need to go down this road? And what questions should you be asking?
So typically you are given a diagnosis of infertility, which is sort of a negative term we're trying to move away from at Refinery 29, after a year of trying to conceive just through, you know, natural methods. And after that, it's typically time to seek fertility treatment. But I would definitely recommend trying to educate yourself on the process beforehand and figuring out sort of where you might sit on the fertility spectrum. We have a questionnaire online that's kind of all the questions you should ask your doctor.
Great.
All right, Julie. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, Julie Alvin, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks so much.